south. But I want to thank you all for coming. Again, if we haven't met you, I'm Scott Bowen. I'm the police chief in Lebanon, Tennessee. This is Rick Benz, who's a sergeant in Lebanon, Ohio. We both have been with Clear for several years. We've been here in Enfield since Saturday. We'll be leaving today. So I want to start out, Chief, by thanking you for having us. We get notified about these things by Kalia, and our first call was, obviously my first call was to Tommy, and I appreciate everything he did. From the first day I called him, we talked about our philosophy and about how we wanted to get through this and what was expected, and everything we asked him to do, documentation, files, everything was sent in a timely manner. We got the things we needed. If we needed something additional or a question answered, we called, he immediately got to it. So that means a lot during this process. Because please understand, as we're doing this is a secondary job, so we still have our primary jobs at home. I'm still the police chief at my agency, so I still have issues to deal with at my agency, just like Rick does. And so it is one of those things where the easier it is for us, that we have to make time for this. I can't say anything about from as soon as we arrived. You guys have put us up in the hotel and fed us very well while we were here. We do appreciate that fact, because, like I said, it is 5 long days away from home. We appreciate the hotel room with the desk to work at and that kind of stuff, because, like I said, obviously when we go back, we do work, and if we need things here, and your IT guy had us set up to do whatever we needed to do and print, and the internet access is great, so that way we can, if we do need to send an email or something back home, we can take care of that, or do something, we need to contact the commission, we can send back and forth, and we really do appreciate that, because like I said, it is important that we keep in contact with what's going on. Even though we're here, we still need to try to keep up with what's going on. I can't say enough about, like I said, I think this will be the 30th one of these I've done. I can't say enough about, again, the gratitude you guys and the hospitality you've shown us since we've been here. That means a lot, because it is 5 long days or 4 long days away from home. And it means a lot when at no time during this process, we had a lot of discussion about things that at no time did it ever come across that you guys were not receptive to what we had to say. And we really appreciate that, because that's what we're here for. And so we really, really appreciate that. I can say from the community side of it, for 25 people to speak at your public hearing, and all those people to have positive comments, and it was a wide variety of folks that was there. You had folks from your local government, you had folks from the school system, you had residents, you had people in other law enforcement or public safety entities, whether it be EMS or fire or other state police, and they all spoke highly of the department. To me, that specifically goes back to you, Chief. I think no doubt that starts at the top. And I was talking to one of your employees yesterday, and he said, if you cut him, he bleeds Enfield. And I believe that, and that's the same way for me, and that means a lot. People know that. And so they appreciate that fact. They have the utmost respect, obviously, for your department and your staff. They talked about working together and coordinating, and that's important in this day and time, because no one has enough resources. We all have to come together to help each other out. They talked about that. But in the couple of the residents that came to speak, they had their facts together. The one gentleman even came and got the standards manual. They talked about that. That's probably the second time that I've ever known someone to actually get the standards manual and look at it. So that tells you that he knows what's going on. And then you have to talk about the military. Well, the military is kind of the same way. They have standards, and they have. There's no doubt that you enjoyed. We actually had 4 callers that called in at the public call-in session that were also positive in nature about the department. We had a letter from the local FBI special agent in charge. He spoke highly of the agency. So all the interactions that Rick and I made when we're here as a hotel staff, the restaurant staff, anywhere we went, we kind of asked people, what do you think? Not one negative word about the department. And obviously, it's very easy for your detractors to come out in a time like this, but none of those did. So I can't say enough about that. Mayor, I want to thank you. You were here from day one. I appreciate that. I appreciate, sir, you coming out today. That means a lot. And the council folks that came out, that means a lot. Because you need that government support, and you want them to be part of this process, because it's something for the city to be proud of, not just the police department. It's a citywide And so I appreciate that fact, and I know you do too as the chief, and so I appreciate you guys taking. Chief, I appreciate you being here. Like I said, usually on these things, we see the chief come Monday. You were here as soon as we walked to the department. You were here, you've been here the whole time with us. And we appreciate that fact. It shows how much you care about it and how much it means to you, and we appreciate that fact. The whole time here, like I said, any questions we had, any office we walked into, I mean, you probably had 40 or 50 people here Sunday. I mean, everywhere we went, there was somebody here. And anybody we asked questions to, anybody that they were freely willing to come with information and tell us what goes on, and that means a lot, because we're police officers too. And my thing is, we just want to know what you do and how you do it. That's it. That's what we're here for. We want to make sure you're doing it right. So again, on that aspect of it, I'll go over the right now, CALEA during this on-site has 480 standards. It just moved to 481, but for this on-site, there's 480 standards that this department has to meet. Out of that, there's 75 that what we call is non-applicable. That means that they don't do it, and this agency doesn't have to do it. Out of that, they're in compliance. The mandatory standards that they have to do, they're in compliance with 331 of those. The non-mandatory, which means you don't have to do it, they're in compliance with 70 of those. And then CALEA allows you to be in compliance with 80. You have to be in compliance with 80% of the standards that you don't have to do. You have to at least be at 80%. And so you guys are at 94.6. So it shows you guys only what we call 20%, which means that you take the option not to do that. CALEA, if it's other than mandatory standard, CALEA gives you the option to say, I don't want to do that. But you can only do 20% of those. You guys only did 5.4%, which is only 4 standards. So that tells you go well beyond the 80% that's required. So with that, my main functions were the chapters. Basically, CALEA is broken down into chapters. I had the first set of chapters, which mainly deal with use of force, management stuff, physical management, grievances, direction, contracts, labor negotiations, discipline, recruitment, selection, training, promotions. I'm sure I'm missing a couple in there, but that's the main things I had. And then Rick had more of the operation stuff: patrol, special operations, vice, narcotics, property evidence. We'll start out with chapter 1. Really talks about use of force, bias-based policing. Obviously, you guys report your traffic stats to the state, I think you said, or the board. And out of all the traffic stops you guys made, you only had 1 bias-based policing complaint filed, and that was filed to the board, to the CHRO, which they dismissed that complaint. So out of all the traffic stops that were made here, there was only 1 complaint filed. So to me, that says something in itself. And then that complaint was dismissed itself. So that's something to be really proud about. Use of force, obviously you guys give your officers a lot of different options with OC spray, baton, taser. So you give the officers the options there to try to keep from using deadly force. And I think there was 10 reported deadly force. I think 9 of those were pointing a weapon at somebody. You do make officers. The other one, I think, was a firearms discharge to an aggressive animal. So you didn't use deadly force on a human at all during this accreditation cycle for 3 years. So there were 6 complaints filed related to use of force. 4 of those, all of them were investigated. 2 were classified as exonerated, and 4 were classified as unfounded. So again, to me, that says something when you're using force. And if someone does file a complaint, that you look at it, you investigate it, and again, in this case, you know, it fell into justification. Your grievances, obviously, most of your grievance stuff is done through your unions, and it's got all the steps there, and everything's laid out. And you guys do an analysis of that. I found it very, to me, it shows the working relationship, especially in 2011. You only have 1 employee grievance filed, and to me, with over 100 employees, that says a lot. And it seems like there's a really good working relationship back and forth between the unions and the city, and trying to, rectify situations, and that's very important. Obviously, very little punitive disciplinary actions such as demotions, suspensions, that kind of stuff. But there was a lot of commendations. Again, sometimes I think it's easy for us to focus as management. It's easy for us to focus on the negative stuff because we have to do it. But it's so important that we focus on the positive stuff too. You guys do a great job of that. I mean, 80-something commendations over the last 3 years. It well outweighs the disciplinary actions, especially the punitive disciplinary actions that you guys have taken. We talked a little bit about recruitment selection. Obviously, you're having an issue right now trying to get people into the academy. So I know that's something that you guys are trying to work on and trying to get people in, so you get people out here on the street. And that's an ongoing process. Training, obviously, you guys do a lot of training, from this, getting them out of the academy to all the other things you do. And there is a lot of training that has to go on with CALEA. That's one thing, where it's mental illness, bias-based policing. There's a lot of training that's required, and you guys go above and beyond that. You have a lot of instructors in-house that allows you to do that. This day and time with the money situation, you do a lot of in-house training, which definitely helps, because anytime you send people out, you can travel costs and that kind of stuff. So you do a lot of that. Obviously, your evaluations, we took a look at those, but all in all, like I said, this is a very, very, very qualified police department. You guys have a lot of support here, very professional staff. People seem, I don't care where you go, there's always, issues, but here everybody seems pretty happy to be here, and they want to come in and they want to work. They like their department. Like I said, we had an opportunity to talk to several of the employees, and so again, I want to thank you for having us here. Obviously, we had 3 minor issues while we were here that we identified while we were here. Those being CALEA requires anybody whose actions, whether it be use of force or any kind of actions that result in someone's serious injury or death, to be removed from line of duty. Your policy only addressed police officers. Well, and Tommy and I talked about it. What if your animal control officer runs a red light and has an accident? So basically your policy was changed to say any employee whose actions. So again, luckily you haven't had that happen, so it wasn't an issue, but we wanted you to address that in policy. You guys did that immediately. The other one we talked a little bit about was juvenile informants. CALEA says that if you use juveniles as informants, you have to list any special precautions. In this case, your policy only prohibited paid juvenile informants, and so we asked that the language be changed to say any informants, because you can work deals with informants. You can say, you're charged with a reckless driving ticket. We're going to dismiss this if you'll go do this for us. So we just wanted the main thing was the word paid removed from there, and then you guys can decide what you want to do from there. But again, that's one of those things where you haven't used them. We just felt like the spirit of CALEA that word paid needed to be taken out of there. And the last one was the property and evidence, which you guys have about 6,000 items in there. I think we came up with 6 something that was what we call high risk, which is drugs, money, guns, jewelry, that kind of stuff. And what CALEA says is that when you do your annual audit, you have to do a significant random sampling. There is no definition to significant random sampling, but there is a table that CALEA provides that you can use as a guide. We felt like you guys had, out of the 600, one time you did 50, one time you did 100, one time you did 60. We just felt like that was not to us a significant random sampling. There were no issues identified in there, but we just asked that there be more done. So this time you guys have agreed to use the CALEA chart, which means you'll be doing 450. Okay. Plus the other ones you've done. So it's going to be, in the end, about 517 of those items will be audited. So again, there were no issues with the audits itself. It's just we felt like that, especially with drugs and stuff, that there should be more auditing, more items done. And obviously we've asked you to do that, and you're going to get that done for us. So again, what happens now is when I get back, I'll finish my report up. It'll be sent to the commission, and then you guys will attend the commission meeting. And obviously the only people that can reaccredit you is the commission. They're the ones that makes the final decision. I will make a recommendation as to my findings to the commission, and then obviously it's up to them to make the final decision. They're the ones that can do that. But again, thank you for having us. Thank you for everything you've done since you've been here. everybody. We appreciate, everybody's come in and checked on us and said, hey, is there anything you need from us, any questions you have? That means a lot, because it's easier for us to do our jobs when everybody's forthcoming and everybody tells us what we need. And it makes you feel better, because everything we see in the files that you say you do, we verified when we hear that you're doing it. And that means a lot. It really does. So I can't say enough about your department. You and the city should be very proud of what you have. Equipment, obviously we were blown away the other day. You've had some people that's worked really hard to get the equipment that you've got, from your mobile command post to, to your Explorer vehicle, to all the other stuff. And a lot of the stuff you got either on a grant or free. And with the economy the way it is this day and time, that's very important. And then we talked about the traffic grant you guys got. With Tommy and I were talking this morning about the difference it can make in other things besides just DUIs. When you see all those officers out on the weekends, it obviously cuts down on car burglaries and other burglaries. And for the crime rate you guys have got, you didn't have a homicide last year. Your robberies were almost cut in half. You're very blessed to have that. And to me, there's no doubt that good police work has a drastic effect on crime and the crime rate. And you guys are very fortunate to have what you got. And like I said, it goes back to the calls. And like I said, I think too, you guys are up about 5,000 calls, I think, from last year, from 12 to 11. And I think a lot of that is because you guys are being proactive with your DEIs and proactive with other stuff. So I think that speaks a lot too. So you guys are very busy here, obviously, when he was out riding, and then when just listening to the radio when the guys are here, you guys are really busy right now. And but again, thank you for having us. Obviously, if anybody has any questions when we're finished, we'll be more than happy to answer them. And I'll let Rick talk about his assignments.
First, I want to reiterate what Scott was saying. Appreciate all the hospitality everyone has shown to us here. It's difficult to have people come in from the outside and look at what you do, but it just shows to the professionals of the department that you're willing to let outsiders come in and critique you. Everyone has been fantastic. The support at the public hearing, just over the top. I mean, to have that many people in your community come out and speak in favor of you shows that they appreciate what you do. I even went so far as when we were processing a prisoner back in jail, I talked to one of the prisoners in the jail cell about what do they think of your police department. And the prisoner even likes you guys, okay? She says that she was treated great. She's the one that messed up, and she had no hard feelings against you. So, I mean, even the people you arrest like you, most of the time. Yeah, she wants something to eat. One of the things I noticed is that this department does a great job in regionalization, getting a lot of departments to team together to do things. And during these times of asking that you do more with less, you guys have found a way around that by getting all the departments who are trying to do more with less together, share that cost, share that burden, and it really pays off. You guys could be a model for a lot of places, even back home, trying to get different police departments to work together on buying items and your traffic units and those sort of things. It's just a model for others to follow. Your Juvenile Review Board was mentioned in the last report, but I mentioned it again. I think what you guys do with juveniles is fantastic. To try and steer them away from the juvenile justice system, to try and put them on the straight and narrow is great. And the community support of those people that sit on that board shows that they also believe in that. And I think your Explorer program does an excellent job reaching out to them to do. Scott briefly touched on your traffic unit, but getting a grant to run DUI task force every single weekend has not only reduced the number of DUI arrests that you guys have, but also, I think, as he mentioned, drops down your crime. And they see all those cops out there that are saying, let's go to some other town because there are way too many of these guys out here, and I'm going to get caught. You guys do a lot with mental health. I got to see Nicole handle one yesterday along with a couple other officers, very professional how they were handled. The gentleman was definitely off his medication, but they took the time and the effort to try and reason and talk to him and get cooperation without having to use any type of force with him. And standing by and watching, they used a lot of restraint. So they should be commended for their actions on how they handled that. One thing that a lot of agencies or people on the outside don't think about or they overlook is your support staff, and that is your records and your comm center. You even had, and I don't know if the ladies in the comm center, the gentlemen's in there know, but one even commended the great work that the people in the comm center and the records department do, providing records for people. The patience that they use in answering the telephones, getting all the facts, staying calm, and getting an officer out there to them quickly. And again, too often comm centers are overlooked because they don't see them. But you even had people in your community who wanted to commend those people in that room, and which is great because they notice that they do a great job for them. Like Scott said, I did mainly the operational side of it. What I usually find when I do all these on-sites is that operationally, guys do a great job. The difficult part comes with the paperwork, filing the report, doing the analysis, and I think your records department does an excellent job in maintaining the records that these officers and the rest of the staff have to generate and submit so that this department runs well, so that the public is aware of what's going on. And with that being said, the news media even mentioned that the access that you guys provide to them is great. A lot of agencies kind of hold the newspaper at bay. I remember taking a class one time on media relations, and the one guy says, don't ever pick a fight with someone who buys their ink by the barrel. And it's obvious that you guys don't, that you are very open to them and you provide them with what they need, and they respect that, and they know how far they can go, and then when things are taken care of, they know that you will provide them some more access and give them what they need so that they also can do their job. And I think that's one of the reasons that your community likes you so well, is that the news media has good coverage because you guys are very open to them and let them know what's going on. Your traffic section is great. The equipment that you have, the regionalization where you go out and help other people, the traffic analysis report with the crashes and traffic enforcement, you find the problem areas, you address it with traffic engineering, you address it through enforcement to reduce those. A lot of people don't like getting traffic tickets. It's expensive. It's, hey, I'm just driving, but they don't realize the overall cost, both monetarily in forms of damage to vehicles, but also injuries and the loss of life. I mean, a lot of people are killed and seriously injured in traffic crashes. So from what you guys do, I can see that you guys target the areas that need to be targeted, and you're not out there on a duck pond just trying to write tickets to fill numbers, but you're actually doing it to reduce those problem areas. You're holding the facility. It's a very nice facility back there. I think it appears to be managed very well. And like I said, for the most part, the one I interviewed really liked your facility. The other one, I don't think he liked it too much, but I didn't get to talk to him later on to see how his dinner went. But I see that it's well maintained and it's very useful for you guys to have back there, especially when the way your state operates. With ours, we just take them straight to our county jail. You guys have to hold them. And I know that's a very big liability, but you guys do it well and should be commended for that. I do have to commend the evidence room. I mean, you guys run over 6,000 items back there, and to do that without a barcoding system is phenomenal. I mean, that's a lot of items to try and keep track of by paper and pencil, and they do a very good job of it back there. The room is very neat, organized. Things can be readily found. And other than just the minor issue of the audit, I think your evidence room and your evidence technicians do an excellent job in what they do. Again, I want to thank everyone for their great hospitality, the ride-alongs, the interviews that I've done. Everyone was very open. They didn't know the answer. They said, I'm not really sure, but I'll check it and I'll get back with you. And they did. They just didn't brush us off. I think that is a compliment to not only you, Chief, but your command staff, but it's also a compliment to everyone that works here, because they're very proud of their job. And I think you've done a very good job in selecting the officers that you do have to work here. Thank you.
Real quick, Chief Taylor, on the follow-up. I asked Tommy to pull your community survey results this morning. And these are from January 1, 2011 until today. And if you look at the main one I was looking at is how's the Enfield Police Department doing? 90% of the people, 89 to 90% of the people that filled out, there was 478 surveys. 89% of those folks said that you guys did fair or better, with 65% of those saying it's good or excellent. So I think, to me, I know I would like to always have 100%, but that's just not. And again, these are anonymous. So anybody can go online and fill this thing out. So obviously anybody that had a grudge or anything like that could go on here and fill these out. But I think that says something. And then looking at, how safe do you and your family feel? Looks like, out of the 487, 360, 370 said they felt very safe or very safe. So to me, that goes back again to, to the dedication of the men and women here. So, and I'll make sure that goes in the report too. Anything, sir?
No, you know what? I think we certainly enjoyed having both of you gentlemen here. Like I said to both of you when we first met, the goal, the ultimate goal, is to get better. And the only way you get better is you have to let people come in and look at what you're doing. And because if you don't do that, you either stay where you are or you fall behind. And those are not good options. So we want to get better. We think that we get better every time we do this, because if we're not going forward, then you're falling behind. And I think I'd be remiss in saying that all these statistics and all these figures are all true. But let me tell you something. The Enfield Police Department is not a person. It's the people that work here. All the officers, the records, the clerical, the volunteers, the support from the council, the public safety director. It's all the people that combine to make up who we are, is why we're as good as we are. So, obviously, I think the best thing you said was, I bleed Enfield. I do, because I live here. I've always lived here. I'm going to die here. And to have you come in from out of state and recognize that, and I just want to make sure everybody recognizes the credit here belongs to everybody sitting here and the guys out on the road, and it's a collective effort because we're a team. And without that, we couldn't accomplish the numbers that we have. So thank you very much.
No, with 480 standards encompassing everything, without everybody dedicated to it, you can't. There's no way. There's no way. Tommy?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys, gentlemen, from when we first started talking a few months ago. I talked to both of you on the phone. You both gave me your philosophies, and you both were true to your word. And you both know in this what a daunting task this could be. And you were absolutely online. We had some hearty discussions while you were here. They came out fine. I learned a lot from them. You've been very good. And just watching, because I know, especially by watching you, watching past assessors, this isn't a fun trip for you. It's no vacation. You work hard. You don't have time to be. You're plugging along. You plugged along with all those 100 some odd files that I sent off site for you, and you will both be plugging along even after you leave here. But really, you've been very good. Nothing adversarial here. Learned a lot, and I just can't thank you enough for the way you conducted yourselves. It's a credit to CALEA. It certainly is helpful to us. No matter what we do, we always learn a lot from this. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Mayor, Public Safety Director, Kel?
I'll just add in my thanks. Why the community supports our police department is because they're proactive and they take the time and the steps to bring people from outside, constantly seek ways to improve themselves, and never get too defensive that they don't take any criticism or any feedback in a negative kind of way. And that's how the tradition of the department has been. And so these folks are just continuing that great tradition, and that's why you saw 25 people come out and speak to you, and there were probably a heck of a lot more that wanted to and for whatever reason didn't. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of a difficult process. And thanks to these folks for putting themselves up, because it'd be a lot easier just to sit back on your laurels and not have to worry about accreditation and having people come in and really pick you apart. Absolutely. So appreciate all that you've done for our folks here. I appreciate it.
Well, like I told the chief the other day, would you consider going to a hospital we operated on that was not accredited, or sending your kids to a school that was not accredited?
Right.
So why would you expect anything less from the people that's out there to keep you safe?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? Thank you guys again, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.